Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Wake up, Link.
Hello everybody, Master Gear to you, and welcome to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We've been waiting long enough for this game, so let's not waste any more time.
That is a SHEIKAH slate. Take it. It will help guide you after your long slumber.
The SHEIKAH slate, a mysterious tablet with a glowing center. You've never seen this device before, and yet there's something familiar about it. We'll move on to the next room, and we can find some treasure chests in here. I never get sick of that animation. And we found pants! Yeah! We can wear pants now, we're manly people. If you try opening a treasure chest while you're crouching... Link figured, well, kicking it didn't work, maybe I'll punch it instead. Ah, wait, that didn't work either.
Hold the SHEIKAH slate up to the pedestal. That will show you the way. Link, you are the light. Our light. That must shine upon Hyrule once again. Now go.
We've been waiting a long time for this. This is easily the project that's taken the most time to plan out on this channel. So, without further ado, please allow me to introduce you to the new world of Zelda. I found a stick! I found a stick. This is the greatest game ever. So, Breath of the Wild, if there's one thing that's known about this game, it's that this is the game that's challenged the conventions of the Zelda series. And we're seeing plenty of examples of that already. We've seen voice acting in a Zelda game, which was never done before at this point in the series. We've also... Ooh, squirrels! We're also seeing materials scattered across the overworld, too. They kind of had something like this in Skyward Sword, but not nearly to this degree. So, we go over this direction, and we can see an old man over there. He looks friendly-ish, sort of. We could sneak up on him. And apples. You might hear me get a little distracted while going through this game because there's just so much to collect in this adventure. But, yeah, I'll try my best not to do that. Aren't you a little bit chilly? I suppose you're right. It might be a good idea to put on pants. Ooh, an apple. Direct heat has softened and sweetened this apple. Eat it to restore 3/4 of a heart. I beg your pardon! I do believe that is my baked apple. You can't just go about taking whatever you please. Forgive me. I could not resist pulling your leg. Please help yourself. An apple and an open flame make for a succulent treat. It is a bit strange to see another soul in these parts. Who are you? Me? I'll spare you my life story. I'm just an old fool who has lived here alone for quite some time now. What brings a bright-eyed young man like you to a place like this? Where are we? Answering a question with a question, that is fair enough. As I cannot imagine our meeting to be a simple coincidence, I shall tell you. This is the Great Plateau. According to legend, this is the birthplace of the entire kingdom of Hyrule. That temple there, long ago, it was the site of many sacred ceremonies. Ever since the decline of the kingdom 100 years ago, it has sat abandoned in a state of decay. Yet another forgotten entity, a mere ghost of its former self. What are you doing? I'm relaxing by the fireside, of course, although I'll need to cook myself another baked apple at some point. Simple foods such as apples are fine to eat raw, but roasting them on a fire make them tastier and more nutritious. I shall be here for some time. Please let me know if I may be of service. I'm gonna steal your stick! Ooh, it's a torch. Well then, just help yourself to that torch there. And how, may I ask, are you planning to use it? To set things on fire! That is rather unnerving. Please be cautious with that around any dry grass that may catch fire. You know, there are plenty of monsters in this area. That torch would make a good weapon if need be. However, do not just swing it around without purpose. You must face your opponents and lock your sights on them. And we can do that with the ZL button. But I don't feel like being careful with weapons. I'm going to use my torch and set everything on fire. The fire's starting. The fire. Burn! Burn! I'm not pyromaniac. I swear. I'm not a pyromaniac. Woodcutter's axe, a woodcutter's tool of choice for felling trees. Blah, words are difficult to read. Its formidable weight and uneven balance make it a slow, inefficient weapon. So, yeah, we've already had 3 weapon types in this game already. We have a stick, a burning stick, and a slicey stick. We're getting all kinds of varieties of sticks in this game already. And there's a circle lily pads down there, so swan dive. That's not a swan dive, that's climbing down like a normal person. That's lame. We must learn from Lara Croft. We must swan dive. Yay, we're graceful.
You found me. You're not Histu. But you can see me? I didn't know your kind could see the children of the forest. Well, if you were on Histu, please return this to him.
And we get a Korok seed. This small seed was given to you by a Korok. It has a distinct smell. If you gather a bunch of them, you never know what may happen.
Oh, and my friends are hiding in lots of different places too. Don't be shy about putting your nose in suspicious places.
So, Just like how Breath of the Wild is going to be challenging the conventions of the Zelda series, this Let's Play will also be challenging the conventions of what you may be expecting from Zelda games at this point on the channel. And the first example that I could think of was right there. Well, first of all, there's a sword right here, which could be pretty useful. A rusty broadsword.
Link. Head for the point marked on the map in your SHEIKAH slate.
So before I continue explaining that, we press the minus button to go into the SHEIKAH slate. And this is going to be acting as a sort of map as a way. There's our objective over there, and if we get out of the SHEIKAH slate, we can see that the glowing orange circle of destiny is going to be pointing us in that direction. So that's pretty cool. So while we're in this area, I might as well go grab a fish, and it'll make sense why we'll be doing this in a moment. But the thing about this Let's Play is, like I said, we're going to be challenging the conventions of what you may be expecting from Zelda games at this point on the channel. So during a traditional Zelda Let's Play, I would have had a counter on screen right there that would have said something along the lines of Korok Seed number 1, jump into the circle, lily pads near the Great Plateau or something like that. But there was nothing like that on screen. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, there's 900 of those Korok Seeds all over the game, and if I misnumber them at any point when editing these videos, that's going to be a pain in the butt to figure out. But the second reason is actually a bit of a spoiler for something we'll be talking about a little bit later in this episode, so just hold on tight for that one. If I can catch a stupid fish, that'd be nice. There we go, we get a Hyrule bass. An ordinary fish that can be found all over Hyrule can be eaten raw, but cooking it amplifies its healing benefits. So that's pretty useful. We won't go into cooking in this episode, but we will definitely do that at some point in the near future, maybe sort of, kind of, perhaps. So, before we go any further, let's go inside these ruins real quick and do a little bit of exploring, because that is the name of the game after all. Over here, we're being introduced to a new enemy. This is a Bokoblin. So, we could use the tree branch to attack it, although it's not a very good weapon to fight with. But still, I gotta attack enemies with sticks. Throwing a weapon like that, you can do that with the R button. When a weapon is almost broken, and if you throw it at the enemy and it breaks against them, it'll do even more damage. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. Over here is another treasure chest, but there's also a Bokoblin we can fight too. Aha! And let's go over here and activate the treasure chest. And we found more pants! Yeah! So, let's go around this area real quick, and is that the way I want to go? No, I want to go over this way. So there are definitely a couple options that we can do right now. We could directly go towards the circle on the map, but I want to explore this area real quick. I want to explore the Temple of Time. And the reason for that is down here. There's a couple jars over here that we can destroy, and some conventions of the series never change. We can destroy jars, and there's going to be some collectibles inside, namely some arrows. But we don't have a bow quite yet, so they might not quite be useful to us at the moment. But what is useful for us is attacking even more Bokoblins, because they're making fun of me and they didn't come to my birthday party and now I'm depressed. Defeating enemies will usually give you some material, such as a Bokoblin Fang or things like that. We've also got a Bokoblin Horn as well. But you can also find even more materials by checking objects in the overworld, namely this mysterious statue thing right here. This is an ancient screw, and we'll be getting into more about what these materials are actually for a little bit later in the game. There's not a whole lot that we can do with them right now, but just trust me on this. You want to gather as much of these as possible. We're also going to be trying to get every single kind of collectible you can get in this game. This is going to be a 100% Let's Play after all, and if you know anything about Breath of the Wild, you know that this is a pretty massive game. Opening up this treasure chest will give us a Traveler's Bow, so now we have access to our bow and arrows. Press the R button to pull them out, and whenever you have the bow and arrow out, you can press right on the D-pad to switch between bows. Press the B button again, and then right on the D-pad, you can switch between weapons as well. So that's something that's going to be definitely useful. Whenever your bow and arrow are out, you can press left on the D-pad as well to change between arrow types, but we only have one type of arrow right now, so that's not very useful to us at the moment. The goddess statue smiles upon you. Remember this area for later. It's not important to us right now, but definitely come back here later. Whenever you see statues like this, be careful when you approach them, but more often than not, they will give you some important materials like these ancient springs and ancient screws and things like that. Those text boxes that appear to describe what the material is for, they usually only ever appear the first time you collect them. But if you get them from a treasure chest or something like that, then the dialogue box will repeat itself. So definitely keep that in mind. It is very nice that they do that, because it is kind of annoying in Zelda games when you're collecting the same materials over and over again, and then you reset your game, and then I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? And then you reset your game, and then it describes the same dialogue box over and over again. So, our objective is located over there somewhere. We have several options on how we can get over there. We could continue going down the steps and go across that area and explore the ruins a little bit more. We could go over that direction if you want to. I'm sure there's some more enemy camps over there if you want to get some more materials at the moment. But I'm going to be going the straight path. I'm going to go over here, and there's an enemy camp right here that I want to deal with on the way over towards our objective. Now we have several options on how to take care of this as well. We could go directly into that fight, but there's a boulder over here. It's not just a boulder, it's a rock! And as you may or may not know, explosives are kind of powerful, so thanks to the magic of explosions, we were able to take them out in one attack. We didn't even need to do any fighting at all. And our sweet, sweet reward is seared steak. Yeah! So this is what I really like about this game. You usually have several options on how you can fight these enemies if you want. So if you're not the kind of gamer who goes straight into battles or things like that, or maybe fighting enemies may be intimidating to you, you have several options on how you can approach enemies so that you can fight them however you wish. Defeating these enemies will give us some more bows as well. So like I said a moment ago, you press the D-pad button when your arrows are out so that you can switch between the bows and things like that. Your weapons will break over time, so that's your incentive of going around the world and hunting down more things. Magic butterfly! Oh, magic butterfly! And there is another bokoblin right here. And it broke. I broke my toy. Now I'm sad. But I'm no longer sad now because we have a Bako shield. When your melee weapons are equipped, you can press left on the D-pad to switch between them. And that's pretty useful if I do say so myself.
Try to remember. You have been asleep for the past 100 years. The beast. When the beast regains its true power, this world will face its end. Now then, you must hurry, Link. Before it's too late.
And now we have our main objective. So, if you're a fan of Super Smash Bros., this may seem familiar to you, because this tower actually appears as a stage in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And it's pretty fun. There are certainly a lot of other places in this game that I would have liked to have seen as a stage in that game, but this is definitely the most iconic one they could have chosen, so I'm definitely glad that this is a stage in Ultimate. My, it would seem we have quite the enigma here. The tower and others just like it have erupted across the land, one after another. It is almost as though a long-dormant power has awoken quite suddenly. If you do not mind my asking, did anything odd occur while you were atop that tower? Well now, a voice you say. And did you happen to recognize this mysterious voice? I see. Well, that is unfortunate. I assume you caught sight of the atrocity surrounding the castle. That is Calamity Ganon. 100 years ago, that vile entity brought the kingdom of Hyrule to ruin. It appeared suddenly, destroyed everything in its path. So many innocent lives were lost in its wake. For a century, the very symbol of our kingdom, Hyrule Castle, has managed to contain that evil, but just barely. There it festers, building its strength for the moment to unleash its blight upon the land once again. It would appear that moment is fast approaching. I must ask you, courageous one, do you intend to make your way to the castle? I had a feeling you would say that. Here on this isolated plateau, we are surrounded on all sides by steep cliffs with no way down. If you were to try to jump off, well, no death could be more certain, or more foolish. Of course, if you had a paraglider like mine, that would be quite another story. Hand it over! Oh, certainly, why not? But there's no such thing as a free item in this world, you know. Let's see now. How about I trade it for a bit of treasure that slumbers nearby? Come, let me show you something. Move faster, old man! Move it! Move it! Move it! Move it! I'm literally running around circles around you! Move it! Do you see that structure there? The one shining with a strange light? It began glowing at the exact moment those towers rose up from the ground. I would think such a place might house some sort of treasure, wouldn't you? Treasure for the paraglider. A fair exchange, I believe. Alright, so we have a couple of ways we can get over there. We could go around that direction, that's probably the safest bet. There's also a puddle, pond, lake thingy that we could swim across, although we don't have a lot of stamina, so that might not be the smart option. I want to go over here though, because there's some enemies in this direction, and I feel like fighting some bad guys. And that right there, that was a critical hit. That happens when you shoot an arrow into a guy's face. It may seem a little bit morbid, but that's the truth. You get a critical hit. If you attack the head, you'll deal twice as much damage as usual, and that's pretty useful. I don't really use this weapon, I use a buckle club thingy. I would want to use a sword, but we don't have a whole lot of those things right now, and I just got shot in the face. That's not very nice. And now that we defeat that guy, the treasure chest is opened. So, one thing that's worth mentioning about this game is there is a lot of enemy camps. There are a lot of them, and a lot of regular treasure chests in across the overworld as well. But here's the thing. I'm not going to be going out of my way to get every single one of them. If there's a treasure chest that I think is worth mentioning, then yeah, definitely I will go out of my way to go show it off and things like that. But the thing is, keeping track of these things is going to be kind of impossible. So I'm not going to be making it a top priority to show off every single enemy camp, but I will demonstrate the ones I think are worth mentioning. Like that one right there, we got a pretty good weapon out of that one, so that's definitely worth mentioning. Don't go off that direction, because if you do, you'll fall and take damage, and that's not very nice. You can't exactly leave the plateau right now, at least by normal means. There is technically a way you could leave the Great Plateau right now, but it's really hard to pull off, and I'm not very good at it, so I'm not even gonna bother trying. On my new shrine. Shiny! Over here we have a special treasure chest. This one has an EX on it and contains a ruby. So whenever you see purple treasure chests like this that contain an EX on it, that is a DLC treasure chest. So if you don't have the DLC for this game, then that might be the reason why it's not showing up on your version if you're playing alongside the Let's Play. To you sets foot in this shrine. I am Amanu, in the name of the goddess Hylia, I offer this trial. Magnesis Trial, Amanu's Shrine. I might be mispronouncing that, and if it is so, I greatly apologize. To use a rune, press the L button on the Joy-Cons, and now we have Magnesis, so this will allow us to control metallic objects and things like that, and that's pretty awesome. So, one big invention change about this game is the fact that you no longer find regular items inside dungeons and things like that. Instead, all of your primary abilities are going to be given to you before you leave the Great Plateau, at least if you're playing normally. So, Magnesis is definitely a brand new one. We have never seen anything like this in a Zelda game before, and it's a very fun ability. It's really fun, and I really like it. We can have the ability to manipulate magnetic objects and things like that, so basically, we get to turn into Magneto from X-Men, and that's awesome. Alright, so there, that is a brand new enemy, and it's shooting at us! That's not very nice. Alright, so that, I believe, is called a Guardian Scout, so we could fight with melee weapons, but that's lame. I'm gonna attack with a box! I shall fear the box! Do you fear the box? Do you? Haha. If you didn't fear the box before, you do now, because you're dead. That's very morbid. Okay, so this area right here is a perfect example of something that is very famous with Breath of the Wild. So this right here, we have several options on how we can take care of this. We could use this metallic plank and use that to go across the way to go over that direction. But I'm actually going to be going back over here and picking this up real quick. And the reason why I'm doing that is for a very particular reason. So, one thing that's worth mentioning about Breath of the Wild is, like I said, playing time throughout this game, there are several options to complete the simplest of objectives. And that treasure chest up there is a perfect example of this. So, while I continue setting this up, I would just like to say that one thing I'm going to be doing throughout this game is I'm going to try to complete some of these puzzles in the most creative way possible. I am going to definitely show off what's possibly the dev-intended method of solving some of these puzzles, but I'm also going to be demonstrating some of the more unique approaches to solving the most basic things. Like, that treasure chest over there. That is one that I have a particular fond memory of from my first playthrough of this game, because I played this game for a good hour or so before I had my sisters play it too, because they wanted to play the game as well. So, when I was in this shrine, what I did was, I thought you had to take all the metallic planks and move them over that direction. I'm going to be speeding up the footage while I'm describing this, because this might take a little while to do, because it takes a lot of setting up, and it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to pull off, but what I did was that I had all these metallic planks that kind of stacked on top of each other, and moved over in this direction. Or I could die. That works too. So this is more or less how I had the metallic boxes lined up whenever I was trying to solve this on my first time playing through this game. So, yeah, this probably wasn't the most... this probably wasn't the best way to do this puzzle, but it's just what I did on my first playthrough, and I wanted to share it off with you. So if we get up here, and now we can go this direction. So the next thing that I did was, once I got up here, and it took me like an hour or so to do this on my first playthrough, but once I got up here, the next thing I did was I moved this box over here and kind of smacked the treasure chest off the ledge. So, after I finished playing through this game, my sisters started playing the game and realized immediately the treasure chest itself was metallic, so they could have just used that to break it down instead. So that was a bit of a fond memory that I have with this game, and it really did solidify the mindset that even the most simplistic puzzles in this game can be solved with any number of solutions and things like that. It really is amazing how open the puzzle solving is in this game. So that right there, we ran into a bit of a problem where inventory is full, so that's not exactly pleasant. The reason why I'm dropping a bunch of them right now is because buckle bows kind of suck. They break easily and they're not that useful, so we're going to be dropping those whenever we can. Although they are pretty fine for this early in the game. You have proven to possess the resolve of a true hero. I am Amanu, the creator of this trial. I am a humble monk, blessed with the sight of the goddess Hylia and dedicated to helping those who seek to defeat Ganon. With your arrival, my duty is now fulfilled. In the name of the goddess Hylia, allow me to bestow this gift upon you. Please accept the spirit orb. A symbol of courage given to those who have overcome the challenges of a shrine. May the goddess smile upon you. It seems you have managed to get your hands on a spirit orb. Well done. Paraglider, please. I encourage you to slow down for a moment, my courageous friend. The appearance of those towers and the awakening of the shrine... It is all connected to that SHEIKAH slate you carry on your hip there. Paraglider, please? I have yet to finish speaking. Long ago, a highly advanced tribe known as the SHEIKAH inhabited these lands. The great power of their wisdom saved this kingdom time and time again. But their ancient technology disappeared long ago, or so it is said. It is interesting, however, to think how something like that survived all this time hidden away in a shrine. These shrines are tucked away in numerous places all across this land. On this plateau alone, I believe there are still 3 more. Bring me the treasure from each of those shrines, and I'll give you my paraglider. That wasn't the deal! Oh, well, I suppose I changed my mind. I'm sure that won't be a problem for a young go-getter like you. Since I'm feeling generous, I will also teach you a trick for finding shrines. It's always best to survey the area by looking around from a high point. Let's see here. How about you make your way to the top of the tower again? Got it. I admire your eagerness, but allow me to teach you something else before you go. Take a look at the map on your SHEIKAH slate. See those blue icons? You should recognize the cave where you woke, the shrine you came from, and the tower. You can travel instantly to any of those places on the SHEIKAH slate. Or so I heard quite some time ago. I don't know if it actually works. Words are difficult to speak. So we could do that, but there are some treasure chests in the water here that I want to go grab before we do anything else. So, if I were to nitpick one thing about this game, it's the fact that, yeah, this is the only way you can get treasure chests that are underwater. You can't swim underwater or anything like that. It's kind of a weird limitation, but, c'est la vie. Opening up these treasure chests, we can get some amber, and... some opal. I'm sure that's going to be a Pokemon generation at some point in the future. So, one thing that I really like doing about this right here is, well, first of all, there's a fishy right there you can get in the water if you'd like to get. But one thing I really like to do is, I like to take this plank. If it'll stay on top of the treasure chest, that might be useful. Okay, that's probably the best that we can do right now, but what I like to do, and let's see if this will work. Come on, come on, come on! Oh, come on! I got to work on a field recording, but I can't get it to work anymore. But yeah, basically, if you are able to... basically, if you're able to line it up just right, you can have Link go flying pretty high in the sky and land in the water and things like that. It's really fun. If I can get footage of it, I'll have it on screen right now. But if I can't, then, well, that's unfortunate. I really hope that I can, though, because it's so much fun. I'm surprised it took you so long to catch up with an old man like me. Did you fly here? Oh, so you think an old man like me needs to fly to stay ahead of you? I still have a few tricks up my sleeve. Now then, I want you to join me up here so you can use this as a vantage point to search for shrines. Did you know about the scope on your SHEIKAH slate? Look through it and you can stick a pin anywhere you'd like to mark on the map. The pins on your map serve as reference points for your travel. Just stick a pin anywhere you're interested in. How do you know? Oh, just a few tricks I've picked up after many, many years in the wild. You may take my advice or leave it. Go ahead and take a look if you feel inclined to do so. So, we can do that by clicking down on the right thumbstick. And we can get a pretty good surveillance of the area. There's another shrine located high on that mountain over there. And if we look over here, we can see the Temple of Time that we saw earlier in this episode. There's another treasure chest over there. That's not a treasure chest, that's a shrine. And somewhere around here should be another one. Where is it? There it is. Haha. So now we found all 3 shrines on the Great Plateau. So there's still plenty of stuff for us to do in this area. And I think that's going to be a good place to call quits for this episode of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. But before I do that, I'm going to show something really cool. This is the Great Plateau. Everything that we've seen so far has only taken place from here on the Shrine of Resurrection, and if you press the X button, we can see this is everywhere we've walked so far in this episode. So, how big is this world, you may be asking? Because Breath of the Wild is known for having the most massive world in the Zelda series so far. You see that volcano over there? We could put a pin over there, and if we go into our SHEIKAH slate, that's how far away that is. And like I said earlier, this is a 100% Let's Play, so we're going to be exploring absolutely everything there is to see and do in this game. And we'll continue that in the next episode of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. But before we call it quits for this episode, I'd like to explain what's going to make this Let's Play unique compared to everything else we've done on this channel. So what happens on our usual Let's Plays is that during the end screen, there are two buttons, a Let's Play playlist button and a next episode button. This game, however, is a lot more open. So one of my biggest goals of this project is going to be making watching this Let's Play just as open as playing it for yourself. And then how we're going to be doing that is we're going to have 4 buttons on the end screen. There's a next episode button, which will take you to the next video on the playlist, but there's also going to be an alternative route option as well. So in this video's case, the next episode button will take you down to that shrine over there, but we're also going to be exploring a little bit more of the Great Plateau before we move onward to the other shrines. But if you want to go for an alternative route instead, you can go to another episode that will take you to the mountain over there where we'll be searching for those 2 shrines. The third button will be looking for Korok seeds. This Let's Play is going to be handled on a region-by-region basis, meaning that we'll be completing everything in one region before moving on to the next one. So for this episode's case, if you were to click on the search for Korok seed button right now, then you'll be taken to a video where we look for every single Korok seed in the Great Plateau. There is a 4th button, but that's a bit of a spoiler, so we'll be saving that for a future episode. And with all that being said, where do you want to go next? It's up to you.